go.
Welcome back to the Hustle and Hardwood podcast. I'm your host, Gabe, alongside DJ, Isaiah, Giovanni, and Liam. And today's topic of discussion, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, at the time we're filming this, Shams Charania has reported that a trade is in the works for star player Giannis Antetokounmpo, and it is likely to happen the day before the draft or any time before the draft. And today is that time. So, Liam, I throw it to you. Where would you like to see Giannis land?
I think that Giannis should and probably will go to the Miami Heat. I think the Heat is a great trade destination for him because it's a big city. They're kind of in win now mode. They're not the best team, but they do have a lot of draft picks. The Celtics don't have as many draft picks as the Heat do. And the Heat can trade those draft picks, and they can also trade their young players such as Jaime Jaquez, Davion Mitchell, Khalil Ware, and maybe even Tyler Hero if they want to do that.
Okay, Joe, I see you giving a lot of thumbs down there. Why do you disagree with Giannis potentially going to Miami?
Do you know how many players you just said? Liam, say the players you just said.
Okay, I said Davion Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
I said Khalil Ware.
Mm-hmm.
I said Tyler Hero.
Yep.
And I said Jaime Jaquez.
2 former Sixth Man of the Year, a star on the rise, and amazing scorer / defensive guy for Giannis Antetokounmpo. 32-year-old. You're who's going to be on the team after that?
Bam Adebayo.
That's 2 players. No point guard.
They got Norman Powell.
No point guard.
No, but Norman at the
You
point.
can't trade your whole home for a little, just Giannis? No.
So,
That's
Joe,
not worth it.
Joe, where would you think he would go then?
I'd say the Celtics. I'd say the Celtics have the best built trade for him. Maybe the Timberwolves. But the Celtics are more likely to get it just because we've seen the Heat in trade talks before with Damian Lillard, all these people before. We've seen – how many players have you seen photoshops in Heat jerseys, bro? All the time. I think the Celtics could get a better offer. Plus, the age gap between Jaylen Brown, if they do trade Jaylen Brown and Giannis, isn't that big. I think Jaylen Brown's 29, right?
Yeah.
So Giannis is
Yeah.
31, 32. So I think it's not like they're losing their future star, but,
Now, I mean, we literally got someone in the call wearing a Jaylen Brown jersey. Jaylen Brown's the one projected to be traded for Giannis. Isaiah, what do you think about the idea of Giannis going to Boston?
I mean, honestly, just the thought about it is hurt. It just hurts thinking about it. Giannis is a great player. I would love to have him on Boston, but I wouldn't want to give up somebody like Jaylen Brown for him. He's been my favorite player on the Celtics for a long time now, and I think that although it would be a great fit, losing somebody like Jaylen Brown, not only skills wise, would be a big loss for the Celtics, but also just like team morality wise, because him and Jason Tatum have been Batman and Robin pretty much their entire careers. So I don't want to see Jaylen Brown leave. I want to agree with Liam. I do think that the Heat is a good destination spot. I don't know about getting rid of as many people as Liam said. I do think, because you did mention the amount of draft picks, so I do think that they can definitely give up a lot and then a few pieces of their team in exchange for Giannis. So I would like to agree and say that the Heat is a good destination spot for the Greek Freak.
Okay, so there was a little talks about Boston. It seems like a few of us are talking about Miami. DJ, give us a team that Giannis could go to outside of the East. Give us someone from the West.
You have to give me the hard question. In the West, I feel like if you can, Joe mentioned the Timberwolves earlier. I feel like if you can give Anthony Edwards kind of a co-star, so that way he doesn't have to help run that team all by himself. I mean, there's really nobody around him that's as competent as Giannis would be with them. Giving him a second co-star, especially in the front court, would help unlock that offense even more. I couldn't imagine Anthony Edwards and Giannis running off of screens for each other.
So, okay, I want to throw out 2 teams here, and y'all can let me know if they could get him or not. But I feel like the 2 teams that definitely have the assets to get him, and they're not in the talks right now, but they definitely could get him. I'm thinking 2 teams in the West. I'm thinking the Thunder and the Spurs. They have the assets. They have the draft capital. Liam, what do you got to say to those 2 teams possibly?
I think the Thunder have gone out there and said they are not going to go for Giannis, and so have the Spurs. But I think if any of those teams were to get Giannis, it would definitely be the Thunder. They have so many picks and they have so many players that they can trade that are so good. Like they can trade AJ Mitchell, that is very good. They can trade I was gonna say Aaron Wiggins, but he's on the Hawks now. They can trade a Jalen Williams, the center Jalen Williams. They can trade I don't know, like Alex Caruso, maybe more defensive guard. They can trade all of these assets to get Giannis, and they still have so many picks because the Clippers are stupid.
Their
So
team is really deep. That's the thing. The Thunder. Their team is very deep.
So Isaiah, I'm gonna talk to you here on this one. You bring up a deep roster with the Thunder, but I gotta ask, do you think Milwaukee's going into these trade talks thinking they want players in return or draft capital?
Oh, that's a really good question. I'm thinking, um, I think maybe draft capital only because, the fact that losing Giannis, because them as a team right now is, I mean, they didn't make the playoffs, so they're not doing good. Then they're losing Giannis, so I think that instead of getting a bunch of players on their team and try to go from there, I'm thinking collecting a lot of young talent and putting that on the team. I feel like that's a lot of a better option to bring them to the playoffs because everybody's going to get older and more experienced. So I think that they want to aim for 5 more years until they get a playoff team instead of just throwing a bunch of players on the same team and seeing what goes from there. So I would say draft capital is a big thing for the Bucks right now.
Okay. And, Shams has been saying, the trade is likely to happen before draft night. And I mean, it makes sense. This is a loaded draft class with players going deep in this class. I got to ask, Joe, who do you think the Bucks could take with the 10th pick in the draft? And if they were to trade Giannis away to a team with a higher pick, what team do you think that would be and who could they land?
Well, we talked about this earlier. I think me, DJ, and Isaiah talked about the Bucks draft. Well, a little bit, but I think they just need, like Isaiah said, I think they need draft capital, so they need to rebuild. And I think a good stepping stone can be like a guy like Braden Burries, or I think he averaged like 17 and a half in the Big 12. But we can have a guy like Cameron Carr, you know, guys like that, guys who can score and also can jumpstart a franchise, jumpstart a rebuild. You don't want to go into a rebuild with no assets. So I think the 10th pick is very, like you said, a loaded draft. So I think they do need to get like one of those guys.
DJ, is there any team ahead of the Bucks in this draft, picks 1 through 9, that you could see Giannis not only getting traded to, but being traded for that higher pick?
Honestly, not necessarily. When I look at it from the Bucks' perspective, they got their ring with Giannis, and they're entering now a Giannis, I guess you could say a Giannis-less era. While a top 9 pick would be nice, they already have 10. In this class, I said this earlier, the top 4 picks, if they were in a different class from each other, they would all be number 1 overall picks. So I look at the 10th pick really like a 6th overall pick. At this point, you can really get a guy that can unlock your franchise post Giannis at that 10th pick. Whether they go in the backcourt or front court, that's up for them to decide tomorrow night. But I feel like when Giannis, and if he does get traded, it will be to Boston or Miami. So I don't see any of the teams in the top 9 getting Giannis at all.
Okay. Now, I'm going to leave this one up to any of y'all. Whoever wants to speak first, feel free. But who is probably the one dark horse team you have that could land Giannis? A team that no one, maybe a slight chance they could get him, but
The Suns. I think I said it earlier. The Timberwolves. I think. I mean, they were in trade talks a lot earlier, but now it's kind of been more Celtics Heat. But I do think the Timberwolves could be that dark horse that out of nowhere you expect to, like, out of nowhere they just get traded. So I think, I think even Julius Randle, maybe Rudy Gobert, and a few picks would do it, or But yeah.
Anyone else? Any other dark horse teams? Liam.
Liam, you're muted. You're muted.
Oh my, I'm muted.
You
Okay.
good? You good?
So my team, it's a up and coming team, up and coming young team that maybe to make that next step they needed to trade for a star player. It's the Charlotte Hornets. They have so many young players on their team that they can trade to the Bucks for Giannis. They also have, I think they have the 14th pick. At pick 14, I like them taking Yaxel Lendenborg, um, to probably be next to Giannis as and to kind of like to be mentored by Giannis. They can trade, like a Miles Bridges. They can trade some of these players. They have a lot of draft picks too. Giannis is a player that can kickstart this Charlotte Hornets team.
Hold up. We'll get to the Giannis thing there. You got Yaxel falling as low as the bottom of the lottery?
I mean, I if he's there, he's there.
He's gonna be there. He's gonna be there.
I don't know. I think he goes a whole lot sooner, but that's a different conversation for a different time. Any other sleeper teams?
I like the idea of there being a sleeper team, but I feel like, in all honesty, he's going to either the Celtics or the Heat. But
Yeah.
I don't mind the Timberwolves take, and I honestly don't mind the Charlotte Hornets take either. But I feel like there's not too many dark horses that can be taken above the Heat or the Celtics.
Right.
Okay. Now I'll leave it off on one final question for all of you to answer. We'll go down from Liam, Joe, Isaiah, and then we'll end it with DJ. Whatever team Giannis goes to, okay? Just give your final prediction on the team, and then tell me, do they win the NBA championship? Liam, we'll start with you.
So I think Giannis gets traded to the Heat, and they do not win the NBA championship. I think the next 4 or 5 years, the champion will come out of the West.
Okay.
Hold on,
Joe.
wait.
Isaiah, you seem
Okay. I was literally just about to say, Liam, whatever you just said, I'm right. I'm all for it. And he said the next 4 championships are out the West. So before I get to that, I want to say, yes, I think that he's going to the Heat. And if he does, I think that they can maybe make it to the conference semifinals.
Mhm.
But I don't think they're there yet to compete for the finals. But when it comes to the next 4-year champions, I don't know, man. The last 8 champions have been 4 East, 4 West. So I honestly think it's still a coin flip, especially 4 years. I don't know.
Let's see. Okay. So before I get into the Giannis part, I want to counter Isaiah's argument that, when you look at the last 8 champions, a lot of those teams weren't young teams outside of the Thunder. And what the West most teams in the West are doing, they have a lot of young talent there. The East is more experienced guys. So I think, yes, the West is going to win the next 5 champions.
That's my guy.
It's going Spurs, Thunder, Spurs, Thunder, Spurs, Thunder.
Mhm.
It's whoever wants to lose that night is not making the championship. Right? That's how it's going to work. There's nobody in the East going to stop the Spurs or the year 2 Dylan Harper.
Except for the Celtics, yes, I know what you're saying. Except for the Celtics, though. Yeah.
okay.
But back to Giannis.
DJ,
So I think he's going to the Celtics, and I think their max is a Eastern Conference Finals. I don't think they're going that deep just because of positions and how the team would be built. Because think about it, you still have Jason Tatum, and you have Giannis. I don't think they're getting Giannis without a Peyton Pritchard or Derek White. This is not going to work. Jaylen Brown, all respect to him, I don't think that's enough. Hugo Gonzalez and 2 picks isn't enough. I think they give up Peyton Pritchard or maybe Derek White. But being said, Jason Tatum can play that point guard role, but he can't play it as well as Jaylen Brown or Peyton Pritchard or Derek White. So I think positions are going to matter a lot, and I just don't think the spacing would be very good for that team, especially now that Giannis is becoming more of a mid-range shooter and a little bit of a three-point shooter from what we've seen this season, more of a playmaker as well. But I just think, actually, I think they do make the finals one time just based off the fact that the past few years that Giannis has been outside of like the 2022, he's had more of an offensive load now, especially because there's no scorers on that team. Dame was hurt a lot, so I think, you know, but so all of his energy went to offense, and that's why his defense was lacking. So I think now that they have a lot more scorers on the Celtics, I do think that Giannis could show his defense like he did in 2019, 2020, become one of the best defensive players in the world already. I mean, he already is, but take that next step now that he has less of a load to carry.
Wow. So even with Giannis going to a team like the Celtics, maybe a championship is still not clear to them. DJ, so far everyone said that the title window for Giannis might already be closed. Do you got something different, or do you agree?
I agree with that, honestly. I think that if the Heat are a smart team, they won't give up all of their pieces just for a nice car. They won't give up the keys to their house for a nice car, is honestly what I'm looking at for the Heat. So I do think he goes to the Celtics. When I look at the Celtics roster, just like Joe said, that spacing, I don't understand how that's going to work if you have Giannis on that team, especially if you have to get rid of Jaylen Brown, and if Peyton Pritchard or Derek White does have to get dealt in that deal. That spacing just is not going to work out for a championship formula in the foreseeable future.
Wow. I'll agree with you there on the spacing. I don't know if Giannis' spacing on Boston is a good fit. I don't know if the spacing on Miami is a good fit,
Definitely.
honestly. I just think at the end of the day, the two teams we've named, the key to them being successful is that they need a guard to run that offense. And the fact that Giannis going there would most likely result in them losing their best guard might not put them in the best chances for a title. But wow. So it seems like the overall consensus, Giannis is looking like he probably will go to a Boston or a Miami, but a title might be too far out of the question for Giannis. Wow, that's who would have thought Giannis finally gets to leave Milwaukee, and the options of where he could go still won't result in a championship.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
well,
as a Celtics fan, I think they're gonna three-peat, but
all right.
no, I'm just kidding. I think
Get him out of here.
I think there's a chance, but I agree. I think the window is definitely closing a lot faster than it should be.
Wow. Well, it seems like everyone on this panel agrees Giannis's title window is closing really quick, and the two teams he might go to, the spacing and the fit, might not be there, despite what these two teams think. That's going to be all for the Hustle and Hardwood podcast. Thank you for watching, and where would you like to see Giannis go?
The Suns.